Talk fast.
I'm done, thank you.
Let these ladies sit.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me today, and I do appreciate being here to get to know you and hoping that you could also get to know me. I'm not your typical candidate. I am new to politics. I've come to you from the world of academia and business. Some of you may be familiar with one of our former presidents, Abraham Lincoln. He once said, "Don't worry when you're not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition." I'm not entitled to anything. It is my goal in this election to earn your trust and to earn your vote. It is on the 20th of February that I announced this campaign, and since then I've been traveling the state earning your trust. I stand before you today as a doer and not as a complainer. As a citizen representative in Washington, I will tackle and deal with the difficult issues that are facing our nation. First, and at the very top of that list, is jobs. Any credible candidate before you today for a federal office must have a plan to create jobs. In my 20 years as a small business owner operator, I have learned a thing or two about the proper conditions that need to be present in order to create jobs. Job creation will be my job one. The most important thing we need to do in this nation right now is move forward economically. And in doing so, first thing we need to do to instill confidence is repeal the unconstitutional Menendez Obamacare. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And replace it with the people's right to purchase insurance across state lines. The other thing we need to do in order to spur jobs is lower the taxes. Globally, we're not competitive. Our corporate tax rate at 35%. We need to drop that down to 15% for 5 years. We also need to allow American companies to repatriate their foreign profits back to the United States so we can put it to good use here, and I would support a flat tax. What do you think of that? Flat tax? Good. In order to help create jobs, I would also rein in over-regulation. I hope you agree with me when I say that the EPA is unfortunately unconstitutionally circumventing Congress in implementing its own rules rather than just regulating. We must protect the environment, I agree with that, but we must not use the environment as an excuse to surrender our rights to the United Nations. That we must never do. I'm talking a little fast and I'm cutting some stuff out. We got 5 minutes, folks. We must also work on lowering the cost of energy, and we do that by digging here and becoming our own best customer for fossil fuel, that's oil and natural gas. We must also support the Keystone XL pipeline in order to support our own fossil fuel here in the United States. In order to create jobs, we need to also improve education. We must train for emerging markets. Our young students are unfortunately falling behind globally, so we must, I believe, cut out the Department of Education and, in spirit of the 10th Amendment, return education back to its rightful place within the states and their powers. In order to create jobs, we must also balance the budget. Because, first, someone's got to tell Harry Reid, like the gentleman said, someone has to tell Harry Reid and Bob Menendez to pass a budget. But we must also work for a balanced budget in order to instill confidence and regain our AAA rating. Jobs are important, absolutely, but we also need to take care of the corruption in our system, and term limits is one way to do that. I strongly support term limits because this was never meant to be a career. We also need immigration reform. I'm the only senatorial candidate running who has authored and copyrighted an immigration plan that deals with this problem. Please take the time to look into it at bq2012.com. bq2012.com. Yes, thank you. Unfortunately, I had to cut some stuff out to make my 5 minutes, so let me just say this is something very near and dear to my heart, so I want to make sure I get it in. I will also work hard to protect American sovereignty by upholding the Constitution, securing our borders, and not surrendering our rights to the United Nations. I agree with President Abraham Lincoln when he said, "We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but rather to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. Can we agree on that one? We must never forget that the First Amendment guarantees the government to stay out of our houses of worship. We must never forget that that also guarantees us the freedom of speech, press, and the freedom to peacefully assemble. And we will never give up the right to petition our government.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry.
There's so much more, believe me.